But wait, they're going to overturn it and rule this a forward pass.
You know I love some offense, but this is ridiculous. There is nothing, there's no part of that that looks like a pass to me. I don't care who's in the vicinity.
Kevin O'Connell agreed with you in a big way. And then things turned over to the Rams defense, and they dominated Sam Darnold. Here's another scoop and score. It's Jared Verse going the distance.
Jared Verse, opportunistic rookie, gets down to the goal line and then makes a pretty bad decision. But good play.
So it goes from a one-score game to a two-score game late in the half, and now the Vikings are trying again. Fourth down. Jeff, what are we doing?
Two Mississippi 3. Throw it away. I mean, we're holding it 4.8 seconds before the sack, Brady. Let's not talk about the offensive line. Throw the ball.
Darnold sacked 9 times last night, and that would lead to this. It's Davis Allen for the touchdown, and the Rams put it away early, 27-9. They are on to Philadelphia.
You talk about a team that said all week, we're built for this. That's exactly what you guys came out and did, man. Unbelievable. And all you guys did, you represented exactly what we wanted to be about, man. A city that's going through a lot of different stuff that can look to you guys and say, I'm proud of that group. We said it earlier this morning, all right? Pack your bags, we're going to Philly, man.
Yes, they are. They will face the Eagles in the earlier of the two games on Sunday. That's 3 o'clock Eastern time. So it feels like there were two separate storylines to deal in coming out of last night. We'll start with the Rams, then we will get to the Vikings side of it. Rams go play Philly. They met earlier this year. Didn't go well for the Rams. Huge offensive numbers. Saquon Barkley was over 300 total yards. A.J. Brown had over 100 yards receiving. Can this be different on Sunday?
It can be different. It was week 12, right? It's a lifetime ago. This young Rams defense has matured and gotten better. The problem is the way that they won this most recent game was with a dominant front. Nobody's dominating the Eagles up front. No. The Eagles are the dominant front. They are the ones who knock. When they want to run the ball, they run the ball. And the Rams are going to have to figure out a way to stop that run and force Eagles into like drop back passing situations to allow them to eat. The problem is the Eagles never really, because how good their defense is and how good their rushing attack is, they're rarely put into situations where they must drop back and allow players like Jared Verse to get after their quarterback.
Yeah, when you think about the Eagles and what the game plan they just instituted last week, it's gonna be a lot of the same, right? Start this way. Don't drop Jalen Hurts back the way they did Sam Darnold. I mean, if you think about the way the Vikings have played all season, they are a throw the football team. And you saw it against Detroit. You saw it last week. So they can't run the ball. The Eagles are going to start with the run. They're going to stay with the run until you force them not to run, which no team, truthfully, has been able to do this season. So this is going to be a completely different look. The Rams got their work cut out for them, but they do know if they can stop Saquon and Hurts has to beat you, that's the best chance for them to win.
Jeff, we know you have fallen. Jeff has fallen in love with gambling this year. You've discovered and you love it.
A bit.
Do you want to get what this game opened? I'm looking at the number on ESPN Bet right now.
Oh, I'm gonna say 4.
Eagles -6.
Oh,
I actually would have. I would have guessed it might be more. Boost it, baby. So we've got that side of it.
Yeah.
Well, then we can go to the other side.
Saquon's really good.
Saquon's really good. Yeah. Fair enough. Let's go to the other side of it.
I broke down the film there.
Which is, nice job. Let's get to the Viking side of this. 2 weeks ago, Sam Darnold is being hoisted on his teammates' shoulders.
Yeah, remember that?
In a locker room scene, the likes of which, like, I've got all you grown men in here getting emotional watching it happen. Like, I've never seen anything like that. And since then, he has genuinely been the worst quarterback in the NFL. I know it's just been 2 games, but they've been disasters. And Troy Aikman, after the game last night, had this.
Hold my beer.
Here's what Aikman had to say.
These last 2 weeks will have a big impact on his future, not only what that may look like for the Minnesota Vikings, but a big impact on what that may look like for him going to another team. Is there going to be the big payout that looked inevitable a few weeks ago? May not be quite as big as what Sam or others thought. These are the games that matter. He knows that. Every quarterback that plays in this league knows that. And when you get into these games, that's what you're judged on.
Well, let me show you just how badly it went. Again, they were 14-2, and then they played that huge game for all the marbles against the Lions, and now the playoff game. He posted a QBR under 20 in both games. He had 1 touchdown in the 2 combined. He was pressured a combined 44% of the time and hit 28 times. Dan Graziano, what does all this mean for the future of Sam Darnold and the Vikings?
I think it clears things up for the Vikings, right? Like, because if there was a conversation about, do we sign Sam and trade J.J. McCarthy, who we just took 10th in the draft and still has never played for us, I think that kind of clears up now, right? You go back to, do you believe in J.J. McCarthy? Yes, we believe in J.J. McCarthy. We'll bring him along. If Sam wants to be here and continue to be the bridge for that, fine. But more likely, Sam's going to find free agent deal somewhere else that's more than we want to spend on quarterback, given that we have a rookie contract quarterback, given that we're paying Justin Jefferson at the top of the wide receiver market. It makes more sense to find another bridge quarterback that can do for us, something along the lines of what Sam Darnold did this year until J.J. McCarthy is ready to come back from his injury. So I think from the Vikings standpoint, things get a little clearer. This probably provides them with an off-ramp that they should have been looking for anyway, and it becomes obvious. In terms of Darnold, he's still 27. He still had the best year of anybody else who's going to be out there on the free agent quarterback market. Somebody's going to sign him, right? Like if Baker Mayfield got 3 years and $100 million from the Buccaneers, Sam can probably do a little better than that, like something in that range, maybe a little bit more. So I do think there'll be teams that'll be interested. Lewis made a really good point earlier in the show about coaching infrastructure and how important that was for Sam Darnold this year. Last year he's in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan. This year he's in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell. He's learned a lot and he's grown a lot from that experience, but you're going to have a coaching staff that can maintain that growth.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say this. When you think about Sam Darnold and what he had in Minnesota, and you're a team evaluating that, right? You have two great receivers, you got a good tight end, you have a good running back, you have a good offensive line, all things, and you have a coaching system that Graz just pointed out. All those things go. So if you're bringing him in to be the guy that you're going to set your whole franchise, I think these last two games show you he's probably not that. But he's a guy that can be a bridge to somewhere else, or if we build the right infrastructure around, we can go win games. Again, the hesitation for me would be the last two games he played, especially the Detroit game, there were a lot of wide open receivers, wide open, that you have to put the ball on. The throw was there. It commanded it. He didn't do that, and then it flowed over to this week where he held the ball almost 5 seconds before all the That's a long time, and y'all, that doesn't just go away. That's something that's ingrained. That's the part that he's going to have to figure out. So whichever staff picks him up, they have to know going in. That's what it looks like.
All the great things that he had around him, we left out the defense, which is another defense that was winning games for them, creating short fields and turnovers. I think the Sam Darnold situation, it's probably hurts right now for Vikings fans, but we talked about this a little bit this morning. They had a plan, and Sam Darnold was playing so good that it felt, or that team was playing so well that it felt like maybe we ball this plan up and go all in on Sam Darnold. So this doesn't feel great right now, but you do avoid committing to a quarterback that clearly has limitations. So it reminds me a little bit of Daniel Jones and how he played really well in that playoff game against the Vikings, and then they signed him to an extension. And now Daniel Jones most recently was on the Vikings, so maybe they re-signed him.
And can we say this? This is not just players. So I want to. Coaches have the same thing, right? When you talk about play callers and all the things that they have, this is not just this is a understanding what you have at your disposal that allows you to be successful. That's not a knock on Sam Darnold. He just didn't play well the last couple of games. You put him in the right situation, he can have. I mean, they won 14 games. Right. That's unbelievable, right?
He contributed to that.
Absolutely.
Like he wasn't just
getting carried. Exactly. So it's not that he can't do it. It's just when you talk about being elite or paying him elite money, that's where that conversation differs.
All right, so the field is set. Darnold's future is uncertain, and the Elite Eight in the NFL is ready for the weekend. Meanwhile, the coaching carousel spins, and our next stop is Dallas, where the D in Big D could stand for Deion. Adam Schefter reporting that Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders spoke yesterday. While an interview has not been scheduled, the two are expected to continue their dialogue. Last night, Schefter spoke with Deion, who told him, quote, "To hear from Jerry Jones is truly delightful, and it's intriguing. I love Jerry and believe in Jerry. After you hang up and process it and think about it, it's intriguing. But I love Boulder and everything there is about our team, the coaches, our student body, and the community." Here was Schefter on ESPN Radio this morning.
Jerry checked in with Deion yesterday, and they'll continue talking. But I said to Deion last night, "So what's next?" And he said, "I don't know." So I think everything's really up in the air. Maybe that means talks intensify. Maybe it means they don't. I don't think he knows right now. And by the way, I think that's probably also true for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, I'm going to make my case here, and I'm going to see if I can have any takers. The Dallas Cowboys, there is a word that I have taken to using for them in recent months, and it is sort of solidified in my head with some of the things they've done, and it is performative.
Yeah.
I remember at the end of their season last year when they got blown out by Green Bay. That game was on Fox, and they go back to the studio, and Michael Strahan said something to the effect of, I'm begging you, Jerry Jones, stop making this a show and let it be a football team. Well, he doesn't want a football team. He wants a show. He wants a reality show. He'd like to win, but he wants a reality show. And what does a reality show need? It needs a star. Deion Sanders, quite literally and figuratively with the star on the helmet, is the biggest star, not only that could be available to be his coach, but he might immediately become the most famous person in the entire National Football League the minute he signs a contract to be a coach. I think that would appeal to Jerry Jones. I think Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders have a long-standing relationship, and I think they could come to some sort of understanding that would make this work. I like the fit. Do I have any takers?
I love your passion. It is. And by the way, Deion is already the biggest star.
Right, but he isn't in the NFL, is what I'm saying. So he becomes the most famous person in the NFL.
He got brothers going to Boulder. He's going to take Dallas and make it all kinds of. He's going to do it. You're 100% right. And if Jerry wants a show, no better place to go. The problem is, does Deion want to be that show? Yeah. Because if it takes away from his authority and his ability to do his job, which is to win games in Dallas, I think that's where the rub is. Could Deion do the job? Absolutely. Would he be? Could he get a great staff? Put the right. I think he could do all those things. The problem is everybody looking around Deion to Jerry. That's a hard pill to swallow if you're Deion Sanders.
Yeah, I think Deion Sanders going to Dallas makes our job really easy, but it makes the job for Deion Sanders and, frankly, for Jerry Jones pretty difficult. And I think we keep assuming that this is a choice that Deion has to make because Jerry reached out. I don't think Jerry wants Deion Sanders in that building. Yeah. I think that he might be willing to have this conversation. He might be willing to consider it. But I think overall, while you said what a reality show really needs is a star, Jerry Jones looking around like, what? You need a star? I'm right here. What am I, chopped liver? Like, Jerry Jones is the star. And you can look at his most recent coaches and hires, and like the guys that he's brought in for those are guys who will be comfortable in that background role. I've never known Deion Sanders to be comfortable in that background role, and I've never known Jerry Jones to be comfortable in that background role.
I have sought out support for my position.
Oh, here we go.
After a morning in which I have been, dare I say, belittled by you guys, I brought out the big artillery. Marcus Spears, former Cowboy, knows the situation and played for Jerry Jones, had this to say about this possibility yesterday.
We know Jerry loves the flash. We know he loves to bring the attention, and no one would do that more than Prime. Prime may be one guy that can at least go up to the office and say, Jerry, let's try it my way, because of the respect that I think Jerry has for Deion Sanders. So it's going to be super interesting, but I think he should be a name.
The one guy that could go up to the office and say, Jerry, let's at least try it my way. Come on.
He's out of the chair, bro.
Come
He's fired up.
He can go up and say it. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's going to follow through. I think the big thing is, at the end of a Dallas Cowboys game, who do we want to hear from?
Right.
So that's the
At the end of a Dallas Cowboys game coached by Deion Sanders, are we going to want to hear from Jerry Jones? No. And that is not going to make Jerry happy. When Jerry turns on Get Up, and we're like, the quotes after the game are not going to be him standing outside the locker room door immediately after the game. The videos we show are Deion Sanders at the podium saying something that Jerry Jones does not agree with. That is not going to happen. Like Jerry Jones, we keep talking about it as if it's Deion's choice.
Right.
Jerry is not going to offer Deion this job because Jerry knows that Deion immediately becomes the biggest draw.
Dan.
There's a lot of different ways this could go, right? Like, just having it out there right now benefits everybody, right? Like,
sure.
Jerry, we are talking about the Cowboys today.
Yeah.
The day after a wild card playoff round that they weren't in.
Old
right?
Jerry.
Like, Greeny I've never seen him this happy.
Yes.
This is like what if the Jets won the Super Bowl, it would look like this. Deion Sanders, I mean, this could result in Deion Sanders getting a raise from Colorado. I mean, like, there are all kinds of reasons for this to be out there that may never end up with him coaching the Dallas Cowboys. But, I mean, look, we're talking about hypothetical, live in that world. Like, you can go, a head coach of the Cowboys can go to Jerry Jones and say, I want this player, and Jerry will take it under consideration. Like, it's not like that's never happened.
Right.
So operationally, I don't think it's necessarily a disaster. I think it's what these guys are talking about in terms of where the attention is focused. And if either or both of these guys could get to a point where they're okay with sharing it, then I think it's workable. If assuming you add to the roster as they ought to and build a winning team. But if you don't win, all arrangements fall apart.
Absolutely. My hardest part for me to wrap my head around this is this part. Jerry, when Swagoo's talking about it's the one guy. Jerry had a Super Bowl winning coach and a dynasty in his hands, and made the one guy who should have been able to go in Jerry's office and say, this is what we're going to do to keep winning Super Bowls, Jerry, to keep hoisting trophies. This is what we do. And Jerry said, you're fired.
I know.
And sent him back.
It's 30 years ago.
Exactly.
The worst thing that happened is they won it with the next guy.
With his players. But you're talking 30 years and nothing's changed except, to Nick's point, for lack of a better term, milquetoast type head coaches, right? Who are just going to kind of do whatever Jerry, and that's not to say they're not good football coaches. It's the role of the head coach that makes it different. I don't see Deion coveting that role without the authority.
Can I make a different?
Okay, let's go.
Here's a different.
I love
you. know what they used to say sometimes, like about you know what who gets the most attention, like in Hollywood and all that kind of stuff? The power couple. The power couple, right? They give them names, right? Like they have they put their names together. I don't know who's still together with who, so I don't want to say names and all that kind of stuff. But, Ben Affleck always seems to be involved in some of them. But anyway, but one way or another, you get all of us so we can come up with a name for them. Jerry and Deion, Jones and Sam, put their names together somehow. Prime and something. Look at the two of them together. Look at this. We're putting the band back together. These two guys were born to be together and to put on a show together. They are the power couple of the NFL.
And they are putting on a show for us right now.
Right now.
The show will end very soon when Jerry Jones realizes that he doesn't want Deion Sanders there because he is too much of a star. I get you, Greeny. Like this.
You guys are telling me that the reason this won't happen is because of Jerry, not because of Deion?
That's what I think. I mean, maybe Deion doesn't want to do it, but I think the biggest roadblock is Jerry would never want to hire Deion Sanders.
I agree that's not what he's after. I think it's interesting that they're talking, but I think ultimately, I think there are reasons for each side to sort of look at this. Deion's quote to Adam, right? Talking about, I get the call from Jerry, hang up, you're intrigued, but I also love Boulder. Like, you can totally see it being both sides saying, you know what, that sounded cool, but I don't think it's going to work.
What's going to be terribly disappointing, and this is awful for the guy who does get the job. Like, this is going to be tough. Like, if Kellen Moore gets hired, and God love Kellen, he's done a great job everywhere he's been, but Deion talk
he's not
going
to
Kellen.
He's going to wear that suit.
It's not going to have.
You're trying to upset Greeny. You said a name like
together.
You said a name like Kellen Moore. Greeny is getting
more Jerry. More Jerry.
That's the problem. It's always ends up with more Jerry.
Yeah, more would definitely be less in that scenario. I'm not. But look, I mean,
Good.
I'll just say this.
Say a bunch of names that'll bore Greeny and upset him.
Jerry and Deion, do it for me.
Yes.
Do it for me.
Yes.
Lord knows I have so little. This would be one of the great things that you could do for me. All right, coming up. If not Deion, then who? In Dallas? That's the next question. How about chasing a couple of future Hall of Famers? We'll throw some big names out, and we'll see if any of those move the needle. Plus, did you hear what Troy said about being the coach in Dallas? He makes what was said at this table today seem tame. Wait till you hear this. Next.
Mayfield. You got to like this. Watch him lower the boom. Bam! Bam! Oh my! And who is that? That ain't the DB.
Bobby.
That's Bobby. Bobby in the middle. That's a truck stick. If you play them games, talk about them videos. Bam! Receive it.
Baker got some help. I mean, Armstrong helped Baker. Gave him a little momentum. See that? Bobby, watch out, Bobby.
No, that is all Baker. Don't take that away.
What is Bobby Wagner hearing in film yesterday?
Oh my word. Listen.
Man. Had they lost, they would say nothing. But since you won, he's getting cooked.
He's getting crushed right now.
They were cooking Bobby in that building.
He got trucked by the quarterback.
You better, if you wanted to be part of the crew, you better get off. That don't happen very often.
Yeah.
Coming up, the D in Big D stands for drama. Troy Aikman is not sugarcoating the way he views the coaching job at his team. Don't miss this next.
Since starting the farmer's dog, Booger has lost so much weight, and he has so much more energy. It's like a puppy again. Mambo! This is a before picture of Bogart. Such a big boy. Pre-portioned packs. Makes it really easy to keep him lean and healthy. And look at him now. He's like a show dog.
Bogue, can you give Daddy a break here? He's having a hard enough time.
Introducing new Eroxon Gel, the first FDA-cleared ED treatment available without a prescription. Eroxon Gel is clinically proven to work within 10 minutes, so you and your partner can experience the heights of intimacy. New Eroxon ED Treatment Gel.
Burger King has a deal for all. $5 duo answers hunger's call. $7 trio, more options for y'all. Which one will you choose? At BK, have it your way.
Good morning with Docalax. Good morning. Yeah. Try Docalax Chewy Fruit Bites for fast and gentle constipation relief in as little as 30 minutes. Making your good morning even better with Docalax.
This island is full of a bunch of people who are nuts.
All aboard the Hot Mess Express.
There's a storm a-coming.
This is what it feels like to file with TaxSlayer. Confident you'll get your guaranteed maximum refund.
I'm the refund boss. All your refunds belong to me.
Nope, not today.
File. Tax mallet.
Start for free and get your...
Touchdown, Williams. Darnold's in trouble, and down he goes. Darnold slings it, and he's picked.
And our defense just went crazy and was attacking the quarterback.
Everything that could go wrong for Minnesota has.
Gone for the touchdown. What a night for Chris Shula's defense.
Great to just come out here and play aggressive, play fast, physical, and get the win.
All right, 9 sacks for that defense for the Rams last night. So now they get Philly, but when these teams met, all the numbers were in the other direction. I mean, Domonique is cowering at the sight of this. Saquon had over 300 yards.
That's just good football.
A.J. Brown.
I mean, a lot of the games this weekend were decided by physicality, and one of the most physical teams in this tournament we got here is
A.J. Brown may not have time to read a book during this one. We will see. That's the matchup next week. We'll have more on the playoffs as we go. Meanwhile, back to Dallas we go. The story of the day, could Deion Sanders be going to Big D to replace Mike McCarthy? A source confirming to our Adam Schefter that Jerry Jones and Sanders spoke yesterday. While an interview has not been scheduled, the two are expected to continue their dialogue. And in keeping with the way a lot of our dialogue has gone today, listen to Troy Aikman last night talking about the desirability of the Cowboys job.
As far as a coveted job, I don't know that that's accurate. I mean,
Really?
I do think the Cowboys are obviously a high-profile team. Whoever is covered or whoever is head coach of that team is certainly going to draw a lot of attention. But I think most football people that take over as a head coach, they want to do it on their terms.
That's
and
fair.
That's hard to do. And it's, if you take a Dan Campbell, for instance, is Dan Campbell if he's with the Dallas Cowboys? It's hard to imagine that he is. It's hard to imagine that a lot of these coaches might be. So I love the Dallas Cowboys. I played there for 12 years. I wish them well. But to say that it's a coveted job, I'm not sure I would necessarily agree with that.
Okay, so I want to be very clear on what just happened there. Obviously, coming from Troy Aikman, that carries an enormous amount of weight. And if you watched the conversation, that wasn't really the question, right? So Scott just used the word coveted. I don't mean this critically. What I'm trying to say is Troy Aikman made a conscious decision. I'm going here. Scott was basically asking him who he thinks would be a good coach for the Cowboys. And just sort of offhandedly said, you know, there's going to be a coveted job. And Troy made a point. Hold on, I'm going to address this part of it. And I think that's significant because this is a Cowboy legend who I still perceive, you know, to be sort of close to the team and close to Jerry to at least some degree that they have a relationship. I think it is meaningful and maybe instructive.
It's very meaningful, and it's a profound thing to say, in part because it's Troy Aikman, but also in part because you look at that roster, and you don't even have to look at the whole roster. You got a quarterback, and you got a Micah.
That's right.
Micah is good enough. Like, you need a guy who is good enough on your defense to build a scheme around, a guy who is so talented that the opponent has to game plan for him, and that allows you to build. It's kind of like having a quarterback on defense.
That's right.
And you have those are the two hardest things to find. And they also have a true number one receiver. Yes, there are holes on this roster, but a few of the most difficult and most important things to find in football, this roster has, which would make this job coveted. And then Troy Aikman, who I agree with, points out that there's something there. There's a big structure there that is blotting out the sun and inhibiting you from running the organization the way you want to. And another thing that he implied there is it could stop a young coach from becoming the coach that he wants to be or that he can be. He said the Dan Campbell that we know essentially would not become Dan Campbell there, which is a really insightful point that I hadn't considered before, because you can't, because Jerry Jones is going to be outside of your locker room before you even get a chance to talk to the media, already framing the story.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely correct. Troy obviously knows how things work there, and I think whoever does get this job will have to have some understanding of how it works there and be okay with it to some extent. Now, does that mean you can't become yourself and flourish? And you can. You just have to find sort of you have to find your way around certain things that go on there that are intractable, right? Like Jerry Jones is going to be the general manager. Jerry Jones is going to talk to the media after the games. He's going to do his Tuesday morning radio show. Like, all that stuff you have to be okay with. And you have to say, well, that's okay, because I can do this, this, and this, and I'll be, we'll win, and everything will be good. It's tricky. It's a tricky spot.
I love what he said. I 100% agree. We've kind of talked about it all morning. Let's say this, too. It's not like McCarthy didn't do a good job in Dallas. The dude went 12-5, 3 of his 5 years. His quarterback was injured. They didn't play well this year, but they still finished strong. They fought. They did all those things. From a head coaching job, if you walk in that building and don't go 12-5, or don't go and because Jerry's talking about winning playoff games, not winning regular season. That's been made clear. It's not about regular season, because obviously 12-5 3 times in a row does not do enough. So now you're talking about winning playoff games. You better be lockstep with this, because one year, Dan Campbell was 3-13 his first year, and in his second year they were struggling, and then he got hot. That coach is getting out of here, y'all. It will be a quick hook when you think about what Jerry is expecting and what he wants.
Maybe. Jerry doesn't really have a quick hook, right? He's stuck with Jason Garrett a lot longer.
5 years who did better than Jason Garrett and fired him.
But that's also daunting, right? Because that's the standard.
That's
the reason Mike McCarthy's not there anymore is because he couldn't do more than Jason Garrett could in terms of postseason. You could have a monster year. The Vikings just went 14-3 and they're out in one game.
That's right.
All of a sudden you have one bad night and now you're going to get fired over that. Like that's daunting.
This is a league where coaches get fired after one season. It happens often,
which is crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's a complicated league, and there are a lot of complicated pieces of it. As I continue to root for the Deion Sanders part of this, I will say our friend Michael Collins, he texted me a couple's name for Jerry and Deion.
I love you,
So there's nothing better, and there's nothing better than a power couple, right? That's how you get all the attention. You wind up in all the, magazines and everything. So Jerry on. Jerry on. Do we like that?
Is that a receiver they're gonna get?
Jerry on.
I throw the ball. I throw deep to Jerry on.
How about if you hired Bill Belichick? Could they be Jerichek? Do we like that one at all?
Fullback.
First of all,
we got a fullback.
take that name out your mouth. Take that name out your mouth.
Oh, come on.
From
We're
North
recruiting
Carolina.
right now. The Tar Heels. Go get him.
And then the other one that we thought of was the possibility they could trade for Mike Tomlin.
Oh, there we
so
go.
they could
Good
become
call.
Mike Jones.
Jomlin?
Who? Mike Jones? Who? Cuddy Buddy?
He didn't.
Next to you?
He didn't get it.
He got it. I think he got it.
You think I didn't get
got
Mike
it.
Jones?
No, but did you get the who?
Did you get the who?
Yeah, no, I didn't get that.
I thought he got the who.
Are we still on the air? On the air? Is this happening? Like, can people hear this?
So what you're telling me, what you guys are telling me is that he is going to hire someone with no, someone who is not one of those people, someone with whom we will not be giving him a couple's name because his name will remain the only
guy wins
one.
playoff games or not?
The only one above the
I
marquee.
think I heard you guys mention Kellen Moore, and that seems like that would be more in line with what Jerry would want. I'm not sure that it's the right move, but he's a guy who's been there. He likes that. He's a guy who knows how it operates
Relationship
there.
with the quarterback.
Yeah. You know what it's time to do? It's time to give Zero Fox. Let's Domonique has a couple of things that have caught his attention.
Shut your damn face. Damn, that dude is cool right there. I give Zero Fox. He does not give a damn. No! Get that big fella.
I get scared every time I'm gonna say it because I'm country and I might say the wrong thing.
Zero Socks. I'm glad Zero Fox is alive for another week. Lucky me.
All right, it's the most dangerous play on words in all of television, and yet we are willing to run that risk. It's Zero Fox. Give and take it away.
All right, we're going to start with, I think, probably the king of Zero Fox giving. The guy who gives absolutely no foxes.
Where's he from?
He's a Tar Heel guy?
Tar Heel.
Oh, this is Mac Hollins dressed like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah.
This is definitely a yabba dabba don't. He is barefoot as usual. We're not going to show his feet because they're probably blue.
How cold was it there?
It wasn't too bad. It got over 30.
Oh, my God. And
January in Buffalo. How are you going to do better than that?
And Mac was not impacted by the cold. He had a great game, and they won. So I guess do it again this week with the Ravens coming to town.
First of all, that's the receiver. That dude is freaking yoked. He is yoked. And he's barefoot, which means it's kind of crazy. Like he probably the guy don't wear no tape.
He's not kind of anything. Go ahead.
All right. Speaking of crazy, we got Isaiah Likely out here who you could try to go out of bounds because time was an issue. He gives Zero Fox about out of bounds. And Zero Fox about the livelihood of the opponent he is playing against. This is obviously Derrick Henry-esque. How could you be in a game? Hey, I like the Ravens. I'm from Baltimore. I play for the Ravens, but I will not stand for dribbling DBs. You can't dribble DBs.
Minka wasn't having it.
You can't dribble DBs. Don't bounce my D-backs. All right, and the last one.
For physicality, that's tight ends do
my favorite play.
Cameron Dicker, the kicker, he gives Zero Fox about the rules. And then Neville Hewitt gives Zero Fox about him. Neville the devil lights him up. So, in this situation, as you all know, this is not a pass.
No.
This is a live ball. This is not so, like if you're a quarterback and you throw it, it gets tipped.
Yeah.
Bat it down.
Yeah.
You're a kicker and you kick it.
Cross the line of scrimmage.
Live ball.
Likely, you know that.
He treated it like a Hail Mary.
Like, I would forgive a defensive player because you got a bunch of different things here. You got one situation. You need to know everything about it.
You literally practice 15 minutes a day that you don't know that's the rule. And first of all, did the kick hit the calf of the dude? Like, did it hit the calf? That thing wasn't even close, bro.
All right, we got a bonus one. Give it to me. Oh, yeah, it's Jared Verse hitting with that Superman. Right, that Superman. Nice push-pull, embarrass that tackle. We having fun out here. It's nothing like this.
Had a good time.
He did have a good time. He was diving all over the place. He cracked that.
Superman up in the end zone, too.
He did. He almost hurt himself doing that. This is so much fun to be young.
Look at that. That is awesome.
Oh, that is beautiful.
That is
WWE stuff up there.
Can you imagine if he was an offensive lineman? How pretty would that be?
Don't bring them
How
up.
pretty would that be?
I see you, bro. There's the offensive lineman over here with his booty tooted. He got his booty tooted on the side because Jared Verse hit him with a push.
So the Fox have been given. Coming up, Deion to Dallas. Who says no? Could it really happen? Is he the right guy? We'll talk about that. Plus, now that he's out of Dallas, is Mike McCarthy the right guy to coach Caleb Williams? We'll answer those questions as we continue, and we'll see if Graziano can answer this one. You ready? Here we go. Graz?
Yeah.
So Mike McCarthy would like to be a coach who could take 3 different franchises to the playoffs.
Sure.
Who was the first coach in NFL history to do that?
Good question.
First coach to take 3 different franchises to the playoffs? The answer is next.
Easy. It's a layup. Layup.
Mike McCarthy is looking for a 3rd coaching opportunity, and maybe he could take a 3rd different team to the playoffs. There have been 6 coaches who have taken 3 different franchises to the playoffs. Can you name the first one?
We were trying to do the whole list, right? Because Parcells and Dan Reeves and Schottenheimer and Chuck Knox. Did we get the whole all 6?
That's 4.
I don't remember. Anyway, Knox is earlier than all those guys, so that's my guess. Chuck Knox.
Chuck Knox is correct. I want to see if we can get the other 2. So you said Knox, you said Reeves, you said Parcells, you said Schottenheimer. I will be stunned if you get one of them. I've heard one of them said in this room.
Was it
Dick Vermeil is correct. Dick Vermeil is correct. The 3rd one, I will be stunned if you get.
I don't know.
Honestly, I'm stunned by it. The 3rd one,
obviously Wade Phillips.
It's Wade Phillips. That's right. You saw it on the piece of paper.
I love it.
It's that good.
It is Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips.
In chronological order, it was Knox, Reeves, Parcells, Vermeil, Marty, and then Phillips. Graziano 3, Hembo 1. That's where we stand. It is a fact. And now we play a game called Fact or Fiction. Here we go. So, if I were to say Mike McCarthy is the right coach for Caleb Williams and the Bears, Dan Graziano, is that fact or fiction?
I think it's fiction. I think you got to, I don't know, I think you need somebody with a little bit of a fresher voice. I'm curious where Mike McCarthy is on the list. He looks more like a Bear than any of the other candidates the Bears are talking to, and that may help him. But in terms of, I think there are names on that list that would be better for Caleb Williams' development.
We always used to say that Ditka kind of looked
that way. And look how great that worked.
And it did work out very well. Do you like the fit in Chicago with the young talent they have there, Jeff?
I don't love it. Again, pre-snap, but I don't love the play caller and head coach when you're dealing with Caleb Williams. That means you can only spend part of your time in the room because you got to do head coaching stuff. I'd like to see a guy who has that assigned to him, develop Caleb. Let's get this thing worked on, or at least have something in place to help with that.
Yeah, and I think the thing about the McCarthy offense is I think veteran quarterbacks who really understand the league would feel good about that because we do what we're going to do, and then we're going to go based on what we see the defense to do. I would like an offensive mind that has a better understanding of how to give him easy answers.
Dak's 6-7 years in by the time he takes over play.
Aaron Rodgers and his prime. Like, these are the type of quarterbacks that I think would thrive in that system. It's not a young guy.
These guys said it better than I did.
We'll wait and see what they do. Meanwhile, McCarthy out of Chicago. If I said the Cowboys should hire Deion Sanders, Domonique, is that fact or fiction?
I'm sorry, Greeny. I think that's fiction. If you want for a successful time there in Dallas, I think Deion Sanders is an enormous personality, and I don't think that Jerry Jones would be too comfortable with that. I don't think that these two positives would coexist well. I think for us, though, it'd make our job really easy. Like, we could change the name of this show if he became the head coach. It's just Get Up Dallas.
Yeah.
Yes.
So much of our conversation this morning has been about, will this happen? And we haven't dealt with should this. It absolutely should happen. This is a fact. He should totally hire. He should complete, and he should give the whole thing to him. I'm going to fade in the background. I'm going to watch you run it. Do your thing. Do what you did in college and have at it. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen.
The should and the will, 100%. Should, absolutely. Can he build a program? Can he bring accountability to the building? Can he set all that? Absolutely, he could. Can he hire the right staff? The bottom line is, will? No, sir.
With all of this, you guys are passing the assumption that Jerry Jones is going to fade to the back.
No. We're saying that's what should happen.
Should.
Right. You said they should should hire him.
Yeah.
But Jerry Jones should become a different person.
We're living in a
That's
fantasy
exactly right.
world.
Change 30 years today.
We are living in Mike Greenberg's fantasy.
You know what you've done?
That's where we're operating from.
You've egged me on. I got another one. Hey, Jeff. If I said Jerry should pair Deion Sanders with his son Shador and trade away Dak Prescott, would that be fact or fiction?
That's fiction. Now you done gone crazy. You done gone crazy right here. Yeah, no, this is fiction all the way. Should we get Deion? Absolutely. Should we pair Deion with Dak? If that's the case, absolutely as well. What you would go through with all that, you have a good quarterback, you got a one receiver, you got a one on defense. You need to build inside. You need a running back, linebackers, defensive tackles. Your roster is good enough to win with that.
To be clear, even I will shoot this one down. Dan Graziano, what would be the impact on their salary cap if they traded away Dak Prescott?
It would be $103 million in dead money.
That's just a scratch.
He has that much money.
And then they need to find,
some mere flesh.
Okay, so actually, I'm going to change where we were going to go here, because how about if we change that question to, could Deion and Shador Sanders be somewhere else next year? Like, do we like the idea of that as a package deal? Tom Brady, it seems, is going to become more heavily involved in what's going on with the Raiders.
He's involved.
Going forward, right? So Deion to Dallas, for all of the reasons we just described, doesn't seem to make sense to you guys. Does Deion and his son, and they could figure out how to do this. Now, they're not going to be able to draft him, but they would have to make a trade or something like that. Shador's going to go, I think the Raiders are 7th in the draft, 6 or 7. 6, thank you. Whatever it is, they would probably have to make a move. But do you like the idea of that pairing one way or another in the NFL? And I'm just throwing the Raiders out as a possibility.
I don't think I love it as a pairing. This is different than a college atmosphere, right? You're in the league. Like it would be an issue in the locker room. It would take time to adjust to that. It's already going to be an adjustment for Deion to go to the NFL, expectations, all that. Now you're bringing your son in to be the starting quarterback. I think that creates some issues, not only for Deion, but for his son. Like Shador, that's a different role. Now you're carrying not only the weight of being the starting or the franchise quarterback. Your dad's. I think that becomes real sticky.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked for them in Colorado. Obviously, the NFL is very different. It's a unique situation, very unique. I've never seen it before, so it's hard for me to project how it will work. I think developing some trust between your head coach and your quarterback is important. They got that covered, so
It's true.
But also, like the relationship of the team, there is a division between the coach in the locker room.
Right.
And there is some like bleed over there, which I don't know is definitely a problem, but it's something that I've never experienced.
Something you pay attention to.
We've seen it on coaching staffs, which I know is a totally different thing.
Right.
Brian Schottenheimer coached on Marty Schottenheimer's staff. We've seen it in the NBA. Doc Rivers had his son Austin Rivers on his team for a brief period of time.
Right.
Those are obviously the NBA and the NFL are obviously very different.
And quarterback is different from any other position in any sport, right? Like, so that's, I don't know. I'm not saying it can't work.
Right.
I mean, I think very highly of both guys. I'm sure they could make it work, but to go out of your way as an organization to make it happen, I'm just not sure it ends up being worth it.
We'll wait and see. Our second round Australian Open coverage continues tonight, 7 Eastern on ESPN Plus, and continues on ESPN2 at 9 Eastern every match through